I caught my wife getting cream pied. I had suspected my wife was cheating for a while. Suspicious but unsure, I asked her directly if she was cheating, and she said no. We were having a lot of trouble and were seeing a marriage counselor, and my main complaint was that she had never paired up with me. As a couple, she was her thing and I was mine. We argued over the tiniest stuff. She would pick a fight about everything. And in all that time, I told the counselor it's like breathing for her. She takes sides against me even when she knows I'm right. I'll make a schedule for the kids and she will tear it down and rebuild it, largely the same, but now she can claim it's her idea and her handwriting. She claimed to never take sides against me. I gave more examples of this behavior until the counselor had heard enough. A friend is an investigator with an insurance firm, and he goes about finding frauds and rooting out their dastardly plans. Makes pretty good money at it. I asked him how he would go about it. He said not to ask yes or no questions until you get a hit on the open-ended ones. But always ask open-ended questions. Watch their behavior. Do they fidget, or watch the door? Do strange things they don't normally do in a conversation like they are uncomfortable? And you asked a yes or no question. You let her off easy. He gave me a couple of examples. A week later I had to stay late at work and wrap up some contracts, and when I got home was treated to the usual barrage of who else was there. Who was the last one to leave before you? These were open-ended questions. No wonder I felt so defenseless. So I asked her where she had been. And hit her with my first question: when was the last time you were intimate with a man besides me? She stared at me. Silence. I mean, cut it with a knife silence. She finally said define intimate and... Interesting answer. I gave a very broad definition without naming specific forms of spicy activity. She said, does it include giving gawk? I said, let me modify my original question. When was the last time you gave gawk to a man besides me? Her face contorted like her cranium was about to explode. After another deafening silence, I said, who are you protecting? There was a slight jolt as a reaction to the question. She stared at me some more. Is he married? She jolted again, like stepping on a tack. Obvious, but she kept control. I said, you said you would give me straightforward answers right away. No hesitation. More staring. I said, are you afraid of incriminating yourself? Or are you protecting his family? She swallowed, and the look on her face was like she wanted this to be over, whether the conversation or the affair, I could not tell. I said, here's what I think, you're protecting him from me. You think I'll confront him, maybe in front of his wife, and you don't want that. You're protecting him because you are more loyal to him than to me. Her eyes misted and her lips quivered, like something was trying to get out, but could not. I said, you're taking his side. Against me. She slowly shook her head and brought both hands to her mouth. Little did I know, all this was an act. My investigator friend said a guilty person accused of infidelity might react in bitterness, but not real anger. They'll fake the anger, but it will die down after the conversation. An innocent person can't fake the outrage of being falsely accused. It can last for days, and sometimes much longer. I said, last chance, tell me who it is. No response, but when you think about it, she was screaming the answer at me without saying a word. I told her I won't divorce you for cheating. But this, taking sides with him against me? He must be pretty valuable for this kind of loyalty. You must love him. She exploded into a rant. I listened to every word like a clinician. She ranted on and on until she was burned out. Then I said, I need an answer to the question. You have your answer. She says, repeat it for me, in case I missed something. More staring. I said, here's the deal. I gave you plenty of chances to come clean, and you didn't. We could never reconcile anything unless you gave up on these other men. Other men was just enough bait to get her talking. And she talked herself into a hole. She's the type of person who can't stand it when there is a narrative coming from my mouth. She always has to correct it. I inadvertently used this against her. So I said, I'm divorcing you. She jolted a lot harder this time. I said, not because you cheated, but because you took sides with him against me, and this conversation was about our marriage. I know where your true loyalties lie. 3 days later, I came home and walked into my house only to hear shouting. It was from her new man. He was screaming about her getting in the way of his family and his kids, and that she wasn't supposed to let him get hurt. In an act of pure frustration, he grabbed the banana cream pie he brought her and slammed it in her face. He left in a huff, and while she was still crying, I said, and I'm still divorcing you. Remember, not for cheating, but for taking sides with him, and not taking my side. We're supposed to be side by side, but your loyalty and your heart belong to one another. I had a good laugh that night. I haven't been able to trust a woman since, but I know that soon I'll have healed and will be just fine. I couldn't care less about what happens to her. At this point it's all the same.